on the board, lower your shields and surrender your ships. We will add your biological and technological distinctiveness to our own. Your culture will adapt to serve us. Resistance is futile.
Maximum warp. All hands to battle station. Engage.
Dun 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 dun.
Yes, today is a good day to die. Prepare for ramming speed.
Sir, there's another starship coming in. It's the Freedom.
What is the status of the Borg cube?
It has sustained heavy damage to its engines and been fluctuations in their power grid.
Open the channel to all fleets. This is Captain Picard of the Freedom. Target all your weapons at the following location. Fire at my command.
The fleet's responded, sir. They're standing by.
Fire.
Hello everybody and welcome to Board Game Inquisition. We're kind of obsessed with talking about board game collections and collecting, so we create these reviews in an effort to help you curate the perfect board game collection. So today we're doing a Kickstarter preview for FlickFleet, which is available on Kickstarter soon. The link to their page is in the description to this video, so you can click on it and check it out if you're interested. And let's jump into the video and I'll tell you exactly what I thought about it. FlickFleet from Eurydice Games is a dexterity dice flicking game for 2 players. You and your opponent battle it out for space supremacy by completing a series of scenarios from the rulebook, or indeed ones you can create yourself. The winner is the survivor of your epic space battle. Flicking both dice and ships are the main mechanics in this game. On a turn, your ships can perform both moving and or shooting actions. Larger ships provide you with even greater variability, with things such as shields, greater firepower, and even the ability to create further ships. As for similar games to FlickFleet, well, you have to talk about Flick 'em Up, the Wild West themed dexterity game. And while they both employ similar mechanics, I do feel like they play incredibly differently. Setup takes no time, and game length will vary dependent upon the wiliness of your opponent. That being said, a game hasn't taken us longer than 20 minutes to complete. Now, replayability wise, there are very few scenarios in the rulebook, but the game does give you the tools with which to create further scenarios for yourself. Meaning, if you were so inclined, there could be limitless replayability here. Aesthetically speaking, the shapes of the ships are interesting and abstract, and I do think some people will enjoy the kind of bare bones sleekness. However, I think others will be searching for further design components. I do particularly enjoy the cards for the larger ships. I do think they're quite beautiful and also entertaining. So what's so special about FlickFleet? Well, it has to be the fact that it's handmade. Meaning, if you order a copy of FlickFleet, it's going to be specifically made for you by a human being who truly believes in this project. And I think that's a pretty wonderful thing. So how do I really feel about FlickFleet? Firstly, the negatives. The game itself does feel incredibly bare. There's no playmat, there's no terrain, there isn't even markings on your ships. And I do think that anybody who's looking for something visually stunning will feel a little bit let down by this. My second issue is actually kind of how combat works, because when ships are very close together, it's pretty much impossible for them to miss each other. Meaning your dreams of kind of close quarter space combat go out the window very quickly. The rules lend themselves best to a skirmish style battle where you chase each other around the board. And that's not necessarily the impression you get from the box. Okay, so the positives. I have to admit that I was pretty bothered by how barren FlickFleet was when I took it out of the box. There's a fine game in here, it just wasn't very visually appealing. Now, I have to admit though, I had an epiphany while putting together this video. So in the little intro video, I went and I took pieces from other board games and I set up a scenario for the ships to all be in. And I have to admit that the game suddenly kind of came into its own when I put a bit of effort into it. So the realization for me is that FlickFleet isn't a game that's going to offer you a perfectly finished and enclosed world to go play in. Rather, it's a little bit like Lego, where it gives you the building blocks to kind of create your own world and have your own adventures. I think FlickFleet will appeal to the kind of people who like to tell stories, who like to write backstories, people who get too attached to their characters and their fleet, maybe people who like to build terrain, or people who like to build worlds by themselves, and most importantly, probably people who want to put their own markings on their battleships because they have a story created behind it. And I think there are tons of people out there that will really enjoy this aspect of the game. As a whole, FlickFleet is a pretty fun dice dexterity game which offers you the opportunity for kind of further exploration and further enjoyment, all at your own behest and all at your own doing. And I promise you, if you take the time and effort to kind of invest yourself in it, you'll be truly rewarded. I think FlickFleet can be a really fun experience, in particular for those who enjoy making stories. So do I think you should have FlickFleet in your collection? Well, I don't think it's a game for everybody. I do think it's one, if you put a bit of time and effort into it, you'll really enjoy it. So if you want to create worlds, have epic space battles, create rivalries, chase each other down and blow each other up with your dice, and then I think you will really love FlickFleet. You've been watching Board Game Inquisition. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please think about subscribing, or if you have any comments or queries you'd like to make about FlickFleet, I'd absolutely love to hear from you. All games discussed in this video will be linked in the description below, including the Kickstarter page for FlickFleet. You should really go check it out. And until next time, I'll be here playing games, asking questions, and of course perusing my collection. Take care.